The new reservation system on how to get the housekeeping report. First of all, I would say that can I ask everyone to pass by this password forgotten link so that you can reset your password to your email, just so that you have a safe password that no one knows. I will send you your start password, but you should really change it to keep it safe. So you log in with your username and your personalized password. Now, the reservations system doesn't look that different from the one that we had before. You have the dates at the top, you have the room types to the left, and you can see the guests arriving and departing, staying over. Usually reservations in the future will be in blue if they are confirmed, in orange if they are not confirmed, in green if they've already checked in, and in grey if they have already checked out and they are in the past. What I would like to first have a look at is this housekeeping section. I will go through all these sections just in a minute, but let's have a look at the housekeeping section first to see how we can get a housekeeping report. So when we go to the housekeeping section, it will show the current week, though I will change the dates just to show a week when there is a little bit more going on so that I can have visual presentation. So you can see for each date how many rooms are checking out, how many rooms are checking in, and you can also see how many rooms are going to need a daily clean on that date. Now, this is very handy if you are making a rota or a schedule for the coming week. One thing to consider, though, that the penthouse is also considered a room, even though it takes far longer to clean than a regular room. So when it says that they are 12 rooms checking in, it could possibly mean 11 rooms and the penthouse. So in this case, if you are making a schedule or a rota, I would say also pass by the planning section and check these particular dates on which days the penthouse is arriving, departing, and staying over. If you're making a schedule, this will be pretty important. But returning back to the cleaning section and the same dates. So if you wish to have a housekeeping report for the certain date, you click on this column. I would say do this on the day or the day before. If you try and print these reports a week beforehand, they won't be exactly accurate because, of course, they need to include all the reservations, including the last minute reservations. And also when the rooms are arriving and departing, the system changes the status of the room from clean to dirty, etc. So do not print them too far in advance. Now on this list, you have all the rooms by room number on the left here, and you also have the departures, the stayovers, and the arrivals. You can add the guests' names with this toggle here if you prefer to have guest names on the report. I would personally prefer it just in case I'm talking to someone who doesn't know the room number but knows the guest name, but you don't have to. You have all the information without the guest names as well. You can see how many people, for example, 7 people are arriving for penthouse and they will be staying one day. They are all adults. If they are children, they will be separated out. So you will see it's 4 people, 2 adults and 2 kids. You will also see the room configuration, whether that's a double or a twin. Or, for example, here it says 3 singles. Don't be confused if it says twin on a 3-person triple room. That just means that there is 2 single beds and another bed. Or, for example, if it says twin for a family room, that will usually mean it's the twin and the bunk beds, unless there is a specific comment that includes something. You can also see for the rooms that are staying over, you can also see that, for example, this is the first day out of 3 days that they will be staying. And once you are happy with all the information that is displayed, you can choose the client names or no client names. I would recommend to choose to show the extras. This will show for the arriving rooms whether they have a baby bed or an extra bed or a dog booked. For the baby and extra beds, you might be able to figure it out depending on the number of people who stay in the rooms, but it's obviously easier if it's just written that there is a baby bed or an extra bed. And for the departures, if they have had a dog, this might be just easier to then know that this room will need a little bit of an extra cleaning. So I would recommend to switch this toggle on before you print the report. To print the report, make sure you're in the right date. Click the printer button, and then you can, of course, format as you wish, and you will see the departures, the stayovers, the arrivals, the room numbers. One thing to pay attention to is that that's different than the previous system is the management of the connecting rooms. So for example, here we have 2 extra rooms that are rooms 10 and 11, and then there's an extra room called 1011, which in case if these rooms are booked as connecting rooms, they will be appearing in this row here. And if they are booked as 2 separate rooms, they might be So in this case, they are in a separate booking, but they might be under the same booking, but they might be booked as separate rooms. If they appear as 10 and 11, the room between the door between the two rooms needs to be locked. And if they appear in this row here, the door between the two rooms needs to be unlocked because they are booked as interconnecting rooms. Things will never appear in both at the same time because the system automatically blocks. I will show in a minute on the planning, so it is automatically blocked if one of the options is booked, but this is how the connecting rooms will appear in the schedule. So for example, if somebody is staying in rooms 10 and 11, obviously just ignore this line altogether because nobody will be staying there. Now, another thing you can do here is you can assign each room to a housekeeper. I have added a list of names here, but I've also been told that you like to work in pairs, so I can add more of these pairs there so that we can assign the rooms properly to the people who will be cleaning them. I would recommend to do this on the system rather than do it by hand on the printed report, because then of course this is then already in the system, and if you lose the report you can print it again. No big deal if you write it by hand on the printed report, but this would obviously be a better practice. And also, if in the end we end up using the housekeeping application rather than the printed reports, this would be easier. But this is how you can print a report for each day that will show you all the arrivals, departures, and stayovers, which is pretty similar to how we work at the moment with the existing system. Just a few words on this planning section where you can see all the arriving, departing rooms. So just here to show again the connecting rooms. If they are booked as connecting rooms, the booking appears on this line. If they're booked as separate rooms, they will appear separately in 10 and 11. Let me just scroll down to show a connecting room booking. Again, the rooms are blocked automatically, so they will never be booked at the same time. And you can also see the arrival and departure numbers here. So for example, here you can see how many rooms are departing and how many rooms are arriving. But do pay attention, this number in the middle here, this is how many rooms are currently available for that night. So it's not for the dailies. This is also good to know because of course these rooms could book last minute, even though they are not on the arrivals list. But that's what this number means. These are the checkout rooms, these are the check-in rooms, these are the rooms available for that night. And just quickly to look at the dashboard. Again, the dashboard section is not dissimilar to the one we had in the old booking system. It's where you will be able to see all the rooms checking in, all the rooms checking out, all the breakfasts, etc. For now, I would like to pay most attention to this section, which is dedicated to cleaning. Again, another section for ménage. Here you can see all the rooms by floor and room number. Again, you can do the assigning rooms to a certain cleaner or a pair of cleaners. You can assign the entire floor to somebody if you wish. You can also change the room status. So for example, if room 14 needed a deep clean and the deep clean has been completed, you can change it to clean, and this will alert the reception then that the room is ready. If the room needed a daily clean, you can change it to clean, and that will mean that we know that this room has been completed. You can also clean all rooms. So for example, if you don't do this all day, but at the end of the day, you know, all rooms have been cleaned, you can press this button here and that will change the status on all of the rooms. You can also, for example, before the report is printed, you can change clean to deep clean if you know that the room has been empty for 7 days and it needs cleaning, even though the guests haven't been. You can, so they are, the statuses available are clean, daily clean, daily plus change, which we usually won't use because the stays are much shorter, but if somebody will be staying 6 days or more, they will have a daily clean that will also involve linen and towel change. And also in winter we might use this button that means to check, which I suppose after you have cleaned the room you will change it to check, and the person who has checked it will change it to clean. Important thing to note, you can only change these statuses on the current day. You can't change the room status the next day. If you change the room to clean and nobody checks into this room, it will still be cleaned the next day, but you cannot manually change the status on any day apart from today. However, you can do the assigning of the rooms or assigning the entire floor to somebody if you wish to plan in advance, not a problem. With regards to the other sections on the dashboard, I'm just going to click on a date where there is a little bit more happening, just so that I can demonstrate a little bit better. So in the check-in section, you can see all the rooms that are arriving today. more important for reception, but good to know anyways. You can see on the checkout section all the rooms that will be departing on that day. You can see in this section all the breakfasts, and I will make a separate video on how to manage the breakfasts. And then of course the cleaning section as well, with the status and the assigning different rooms. So just to go back to the beginning, if you wish to print a cleaning report just like we do now, you go to this section of the cleaning, you find the date that you need to print it for. You click on the date, you click to show all the extras, you make sure that you have all the stayovers, arrivals and departures, and then you print your report and all the information is going to be there.